As you all know, the insecurity in Nigeria has gotten to red alert, and Major General Muhammadu Buhari retired has no clue. It is so overwhelming. In fact, the northern part of Nigeria is a no-go area. Not to talk of the Hausa Fulani bandits that are all over the place. That's not to say we do not have kidnappers in the south, and definitely more of them now. They've taken much more. They've learned the trade and they've become much more aggressive about it. But then we are not trying to say there are no kidnappers also among Southerners. But what we are saying is that the Hausa Fulani, cattle rustlers, bandits, and the rest of them, and we call them terrorists, they've taken up the jobs of kidnapping. So this brought about the southern part of Nigeria, specifically the southwestern part of Nigeria, the people that you might call Yariba, the people you might call Yoruba, the people you might call Anago, they decided to come up with their own form of security outfit, not because they never had any of that to combat crime, and that was the OPC that they had in those days. But then OPC was riddled with a lot of issues and inconsistency. Some people claim that they used it to for vendetta. If they want to take your girlfriend and stuff like that, since it's something like that anyway. So it brought a lot of issues here and there, and it has to go underground. They had to shut it down somehow, as if OPC did not exist again. Now, when you go to the southeastern part of Nigeria, they also have their own local form of security, but not as effective as that of the OPC. The OPC was really, they were very effective back in those days when they really were working until things changed. But now, they've decided to rebrand this outfit, and it is now Amotekun. Amotekun is now so organized. They have their vehicle, the colors, their dresses, their uniforms, the regalia, and everything. And this was formed as a result of the governors from the southwestern part of Nigeria coming together to fight and combat this terrorism, these Hausa Fulani bandits, and the rest of the issues that that has riddled the southwestern part of Nigeria. Yes, the southeastern part of Nigeria, some of the governors they've lauded this move. Some of them have praised it. IPOB is actually happy about this, and hopefully, they expect that the Ogbodigwe, if I got that pronounced properly, that is now being proposed by the southeastern part of Nigeria, will actually kick off and be effective, just like what Mazin Nnamdi Kanu said earlier about having personal security and not trusting what is on ground. Nigeria is a contraption. Nigeria is like a public institution, a public place where no one wants to take responsibility for anything. It's just like a place I take my own, I move, I take my own, because it is never originally a nation. It is a forced marriage that is supposed to have been dissolved, even though it doesn't exist again. It is no longer in existence. It has expired January 1st, 2014. I'll keep repeating it. The police has threatened to arrest Operation Amotekun members, and here is why. The police has already laid down the ground rules for the Southwest security outfit called Amotekun, and it is not that pretty. On Thursday, January 9, 2020, governors of Nigeria's six southwest states of Ogun State, Osun State, Oyo State, Ekiti State, Ondo State, and Lagos State, they all came together and launched the Western Nigerian Security Network called Operation Amotekun in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital. Now, that shows that they have a kind of understanding amongst themselves. They came together, they agreed with one voice. And that is what I expect to see in the southeastern part of Nigeria. But the problem there is the one voice. There's no one voice, as they claim that according to them, one person cannot dictate to them and tell them what to do. Every man is a god for himself. And that brings about issues. Now, we're not saying one person should control the other person or dominate the other person, either a state or a governor. We are talking about coming together with one ideology, progressive ideology. One would have expected all of them to have supported any secessionist group so that it can break. That is enough and strong power. But nevertheless, the governors say Amotekun will complement the police and other security outfits in the federation and not to replace them. It exists in South Africa where they have neighborhood police and the rest of that to complement the efforts of the Nigerian police. As you know, they are all riddled with corruption, they are involved in bribery, they know that they have no power because the government can decide to just shut down any police officer that is actually doing certain things that may not be in support of what they want. However, the police appear not to be favorably disposed to the idea of a regional security outfit, and its commissioners in these states have been talking tough. Yes to Dane guns, but no to AK-47. That is just what it is. Now, Dane guns are those locally produced guns that you have to do a lot of things to shoot just one bullet out. But they said no to AK-47. So as you know, AK-47 are automatic and it can be semi-automatics, and that's what the Boko Haram they have. And probably they are afraid that this might result to them becoming too strong, and if they become uncontrollable they might end up to become Boko Haram. But that's not the case, as Boko Haram has a different ideology that we cannot even tally and relate it to human. It's out of order. It's different from this, so that's what they are looking at and say if these people have AK-47, there's a possibility that they might challenge them as police officers. So they say yes to dead guns but no to AK-47. According to Punch report, the police public relations officer in Ogun State, Abimbola Oyeyemi, has warned that any civilian member of Operation Amotekun found guilty of using unlicensed firearms will be arrested. And I accept that. Unlicensed is the word I want to take. All weapons need to be registered so that there will be transparency amongst this Amotekun group, and also they will not act out of order, as any of them might decide to be a rogue at the end of the day. As you know, for every group you always find a Judas. So Oyeyemi was also quoted saying that anybody who does not belong to any security agency such as the army, the police, and the customs cannot bear AK-47 rifles. But unfortunately, the Boko Haram, Fulani, herdsmen, bandits, criminals, they do not belong to the army. They do not belong to the police. They do not belong to the customs, but they have AK-47. They have they have a lot of ammunition. They have explosives, and the rest of that, and of course, armed robbers too. So he said you cannot be in possession of a prohibited firearm, and you expect us to condone that. For example, somebody who does not belong to any security agency, such as the army, the police, and the customs, cannot carry an AK-47 rifle. You cannot carry a pump action, and that's where there's problem, because many of them during that time, the OPC, they had pump action. In a similar vein, the public relations officer of the Ondo State Police Command, CSP Femi Joseph, says anyone who wish to get firearms should get the license, and I support that. He says there are categories of firearms. The ones that are prohibited are those ones using cartridges. If you are carrying them without being licensed, it is illegal. But the Dane guns used by local hunters in the farms are not prohibited because they do not use cartridges. Essentially, the police is saying members of Amotekun are only permitted to use Dane guns and not sophisticated weapons. Spokesperson for the Ekiti State Police Command, Sunday Abutu, has also warned that any member of Amotekun caught bearing prohibited firearms will be arrested. Now, I hope this does not come to a face off between the police and Amotekun, as Amotekun might decide to grow stronger and they will definitely fight. Maybe this will bring about the end of that and the solution of this contraption called Nigeria, as they are pushing forward to have their whole security. That's how they are going to come up with, you know what, enough is enough. We don't want to be part of Nigeria. Aputu said it is the responsibility of the police to arrest and prosecute any individual or group bearing arms illegally. The approved local vigilante groups can only carry den guns. Even people that are going to use those was den and local guns have to be approved by the police. The police know those ones that are prohibited and the ones that such groups can use. Once we see anybody or group with prohibited firearms, we'll arrest them because they are not allowed to carry such. That's what Abutu said. Now, according to Punch, there are certain codes and anonymous senior police officer in the force headquarters are saying that the law of the use or bearing of firearms is clear. Only the police and members of the armed forces are permitted to bear or use firearms. Therefore, Amotekun operatives are not allowed to bear firearms. This is beyond their mandate. Any of them found with AK-47 rifles or any modern weapon will be arrested and prosecuted. Since the Amotekun personnel consist of hunters, vigilantes, and other local guards, they may bear them guns. I believe this is permitted since hunters are allowed to carry this for hunting. But the police will not close their eyes to illegal use of firearms or the acquisition and use of sophisticated rifles and other deadly weapons. So this is just what they are saying. Now, according to Pulse newspaper, Amatekun personnel will be drawn from the following: Odua People's Congress, OPC, the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, the Southwest Hunters Association, the Southwest Agbekoya Group, Agbekoya Farmer Society Group, Yoruba Youth Council, and the Community Security Awareness Initiative Corps of Nigeria. The Are on Kanka for Yoruba Life Chief Gani Adams, the head of OPC, a faction of OPC back then, is expected to lead them all under the aegis of the Southwest Stakeholder Security Group, SSSG, as he is the Are on Kanka for. Lagos, Oshu, Ekiti states have announced that they will enlist 1,320 Amotekun operatives from the OPC and other vigilante groups, and I think they need more to cover. Nigeria operates a flawed federal system of governance, with pundits calling for the restructuring of a federation that concentrates way too much power in the center at the expense of the state and local government. A centrally controlled police force has often been accused of corruption, extrajudicial killings, human rights abuses, and an inability to protect and safeguard citizens. The governors of the Southwest states have, however, stated that they are not about to introduce a long clamored for state police through the back door with Amotekun. And for me, I do not think that state governors can totally be should be in control of state police. There shouldn't be issues. No, state police shouldn't be actually allowed, because many of these governors are not normal. They are not humans, and we've seen several times they try to muscle on journalists. Just look at Abajalingo. It is a governor, not federal government, that put him in jail till now, all because he asked for transparency. So imagine if state police exists and the state governors are in control of that. Simply put, they will crush a lot of people. So, guys, that's just what it is for now. We are unfortunate that we have very terrible and satanic, evil people that mount that podium as rulers and not leaders. That is what it is for now. If you're not a member of this channel, let us grow it together by you tapping on the subscription button and the red notification icon bell below. It will alert you whenever videos are uploaded. Thanks for stopping by.